Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Friday, March 25th, 2022. Happy Friday, everyone. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss, here looking at the daily chart of the ES. You'll notice right here that we are currently sitting above the U.S. fiscal year CVWAP, composite VWAP at the moment. This is multiple days where it's tried to hold up here. The last couple of times we've gotten up into these areas, it has been offered ever since the beginning of the year, where it was barely being bid here just before we dropped. So this is going to be interesting to see if the market can hold above those gains. Otherwise, what we've seen here throughout the week is a trading range market. We've seen a very big rally last week, and then we've gone sideways this week with up a day, down a day, up a day type of price action. Given yesterday's up a day, if there's any failure to hold above the 3-day range and above yesterday's highs here of 45.17.5, that could open up a return back to the midpoint and likely back toward the bottom edge of this range in around the 44.50 level, so 44.60, right in that zone. So we could be looking at a return right back in and stay in the range ahead of next week. Overall, this market remains very bullish, and these ranges that have developed here have some compression that suggests that major expansion could be seen soon. After last week's major rally and this week's compression, we may see another high range week next week as well. So right now we'll see how it plays out heading into the rest of the session, but if there's any failure to hold above these 3-day highs here marked on the chart, again right now yesterday's high is 45.17.5, there could be a rotation back into the range. As of right now, ES is trading just 33% of average range. The NQ trading 35% of average range. This one too sitting outside of the recent 3 to 4 day range. Yesterday closing very strong after an early pullback during the day, and again already today a strong pullback right after the London Open and a return back up, but again not a lot of range, only 147 points of range heading into the RTH Open. That's 35% of average when this thing's been averaging 346 points on a 5-day and 420 on a 10-day. So again, there's still some potential range to be had, but if there's any failure to hold above 14.7 today, that could open up a rotation back down within the range ahead of the weekend. Let's take a look here at crude oil. Crude oil pulling back right here, the next edge. Again, 10-point increments have been very friendly to us in this chart, and the 116 level is basically the next edge right there, and it was rejected here over the last couple of days. So 116 hit today, or yesterday rather, a pullback from that zone, and right now we're pulling back yet again. But we could see 106, 105, 106 to about 116 as the range. And below that is 96. So you see that 10-point distribution, this one, and that's that major one up. And so again, while there could be a little bit more pullback, expect this thing to bounce back up. This market has been bullish overall, and testing the 8-period average, the rising 8-period from above yet again, that could provide another opportunity for some sort of failed low and go type of pattern here ahead of a bounce off 105, 106. So that's going to be the zone to watch. As of right now, from an intraday perspective, I'll push back above the previous week's low price here of about 109.70 would open up short-term strength back toward 110.50 and 111s. All right, let's take a look now at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has seen quite a bit of strength over the last couple of days, including today here, now over 45,000. When we left off last week, we mentioned that this narrow range suggested that we could see about a 6,000 point move or so. We could be looking at a push into or toward that 46K level, and we've seen it play out. It's just taking its time to do it. The first day was big, and then it held another several days here, and then another day, hold, another day, and continue. So it's been a very solid continuation so far. Nice buy signal developed again right after the London Open. We've seen a very nice continuation since then. but we are coming into resistance. We've talked about the rounded bottom that continues to develop here in Bitcoin. We've mentioned how this type of pattern has a lot of energy that could eventually lead to a move all the way back to these highs. But first things first, 5250 would be the likely next short-term target once price is able to get through 46K. Until then, we may see this thing hit and pull back again as this thing continues to develop within this rounded bottom until we are ready to see that transition phase. A transition phase, that type of day, would take you well through 46K and perhaps close you above 48,000. That would be a significant transition. It's what takes you from the lower distributions to the upper distributions, or at times what takes you from the upper distributions to the lower. That one big day, that transition day, that's a transition day. So that's what it's going to take to kind of get us through that zone and start working our way up. But that doesn't necessarily have to be right away. So right now, short term, we still have up toward 46-ish where we can hit. But it wouldn't surprise me if we throw off some sort of tail or rejection that brings us right back toward 40 as this thing continues to develop within the range. All right, let's take a look here at Ether futures. This one's also up 2+% here. This one's actually outpacing Bitcoin in terms of percentage gains. While this one has some rounded bottom qualities to it, we have noted that the key range is likely the best one there, and that one's more of a triangle type of pattern, which has broken to the upside. That move has occurred through 28, and we've seen a steady move higher. Again, last week we mentioned the 3-day range down here and how it could open up a move toward 3,300, 32 to 33. We've reached 32 now. We're approaching 33. When we get to 33, it wouldn't surprise again if we see some sort of correction back down. Perhaps not all the way back down. It could be back down with a higher low and try again, as we mentioned with Bitcoin. But this is a very strong move here toward the edge. Very good solid move. It's also a result here of a breakout from this triangle type of pattern, and that impulsive move gives you a key target way up here at 46.69. 46.69. So any pullback could be the last time to try to jump on as it attempts to transition through 3,300. That's what this market's going to need, is really a transition through 3,300, a hold and go. So again, approaching that zone now after a very bullish run here out of ETH and Bitcoin. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Happy Friday, everyone. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.